It's Transformers96 here with another review. This time we have the Hot Toys Iron Man 3 Silver Centurion figure, so here you are. Alright, so this was the Sideshow exclusive version. This is one of the Iron Legion armors, and this did go on pre-order, I believe, last August, back in 2013, so this figure did take quite a long time to get out, and but it is finally here, and I'm very excited for it. This is one armor that I really do like in the comics, and was really excited about Hot Toys making, so yeah. So overall, it looks really great. Really do like the packaging, like that you got a nice picture of the toy, not the armor from the movie, but the actual toy. Get a nice silver strip that says his name. You know, of course, if you do get the exclusive one, you'll get a little Sideshow exclusive sticker. And overall, a very simple but very nice box. Overall, looks good and would look very nice with all the other Iron Legion boxes. Looks really good. So yeah, so now let's go into the figure. So here he is out of package, but before we go into the actual figure, let's go over his accessories. Alright, so here's the majority of the accessories that you will get with this Iron Man figure. First of all, when it comes to the hands, he comes with the standard Iron Man hands. He comes with two hands that are meant for the repulsory blaster, or just to kind of stable himself while he's flying. You get two of these hands, which have individually articulated fingers, which are really great and really do everything that you want. And then you have two fisted hands, because the articulated fingers can't get a very tight fist, so to make it look a little bit more natural, they do have two separate hands. Now, the difference between this Iron Man armor and the other Iron Man armors is that the actual wrist plates are attached to the hands. This is something that I like a lot better. It's very annoying because you do have to, when you put on the repulsor hands, after you have one of these hands on, you have to switch out the arm plates or wrist plates, and it's really not fun. It's just kind of annoying. You're a little afraid of breaking them too because they're a little fragile, or they at least seem a little fragile. And now this completely solves that problem. All it is just a ball joint now, and the plate is attached to the wrist, so you just pop it in, pop it out. It's really easy. Really glad that they did that, and I hope that this is not just on this one. I hope that they do it for the Star Boost and the Heartbreaker and just all the other armors that are coming out, because that would be really nice. Now, the reason that this is definitely the way on this figure is because he does come with these, the blades, and the blades do attach right into the hands here. The only the hands that won't have the blade attached to it are the repulsor blast hands, because they're kind of up, and they really don't kind of fit for they don't fit for the actual scene here. Come on, let's focus. There we go. There we go. Okay, as you can see, you do have a little slot there that you can put in the knife. It's, fairly simple to put in the knife. It's just there's not really a good place to grip it because, your just instinct is to kind of push it in like this. But this is actually a very sharp knife here, and it actually does hurt to do that. So it can be a little annoying. I've heard of people really having a struggle trying to put this in. For me, I only put one in because I only wanted one in, and it really wasn't that bad. These knives are really great considering they are actual die-cast metal, which is really fantastic. Really glad that they didn't just go with plastic there, because they could have easily done that. But the die-cast metal is really quite fantastic with these knives, and overall look good. He only uses one in the movie, but you can put them both in at the same time. I prefer just to keep it as one to kind of keep it more movie accurate, and it looks a little nice, not being so symmetrical. Having one hand with a big knife looks really cool. He also comes with a battle damaged chest plate. This is something that I'm very happy with. It is something that's, disappointing with the other Vault of Armor, or Iron Legion figures, is that they don't really come with any battle damage parts. This is the only one that comes with battle damage parts. It is fantastic. It's a really nice chest plate. Got a bunch of scratches and dents and, just scars. Looks really fantastic. And then I love that the arc reactor, the glass is broken. It's super sick, and I really do love that. Really well designed. There's just 4 pegs that you peg them in on his chest. It is a bit hard to unpeg and peg in these chest pieces. I have noticed I have struggled a lot with that because there's not a good way to detach them, and they do give you this little tool to help you do that, but it is just very difficult, and unfortunately just is something that's hard to do, but you can do it. This is the first Iron Man armor that comes with the batteries outside of the figure. Typically they all had their batteries in it. Now that they come on the outside, overall how I feel about this, I'm kind of iffy on it. I would definitely prefer them to put the batteries in already on the chest and head. I don't need the hand batteries in because I really don't need the hands to light up. I really don't use that that very much anyway. But I would have definitely liked to have them in the chest and head already, because this is, you know, it's kind of a hassle to put them in now, because, you know, you don't want to be scraping the, you know, the part of the armor where the screw is when you accidentally like slip with the screwdriver or something. That wouldn't be fun. So I am a little hesitant to put these in, and I don't think I will be doing that, so I won't be showing the light up gimmick in this review, unfortunately. But overall, it is kind of nice that they give you that option. And for anybody who doesn't open their Hot Toys figures, you know, I don't think there's very many people who do that, but for anybody who just keeps them mint, then it's definitely great to have them, you know, out, because then you don't have to worry about the batteries corroding inside the figure. You never have to worry about that. And then you do get a spare head. Now this is the regular head. This is the one that you're going to get on your figure, and it is just plain. There's really nothing to it. This one is the one that has the light up capability. I took it out because I just have the other one in. Now the only difference between this one and the other one is the paint on the face helmet, and I will be talking about that when I go over the actual figure. So yeah, so like I said, you do get a, you know, very nice variety of accessories with this armor. I would like some more battle damage parts, but when you do compare the Silver Centurion to like Star Boost or Heartbreaker, you know, the amount of accessories that you get on this one is much higher, so it is definitely a better deal in my opinion, because you do get some decent amount of stuff with it. Alright, and the last thing that you will get if you buy the Sideshow exclusive version is a battle damage Iron Man helmet. The helmet is overall very, very nice. It's got a lot of burnt marks, scrapes, and scratches, and it just looks fantastic. I have been waiting to put this under the Mandarin's boots forever. I've had just a regular Iron Man helmet that he was stepping on, and I've been so looking forward to doing this, so I finally got to put the battle damage version up of it as he's stepping on it. I think it looks fantastic. I really like it. I mean, you can do a ton of stuff with this. You can have Ironmonger hold it, Whiplash, you know, stepping on it, or just have it on the base of an Iron Man or an Iron Man villain figure, because it just works out perfect. And unfortunately, there isn't any light up gimmicks on it. It seems like it's something that needs a light up gimmick. I am considering just trying to find some small light that I can put under it, because it would be really nice. But you know, if just to show people, or just to show you now, here's just the flash on my iPhone. You can light up the eyes, and it just looks sick. Super cool. I mean, that's just the coolest thing ever. So yeah, really wish that this had a light up gimmick, like because the Loki that came out has the ether that lights up, so they do light up, you know, exclusive items. They really should have done one here, but overall looks really awesome, and I'm very glad to have it. Alright, you do also get a base with this armor. Now, this base has been a little modified on mine. First of all, it is very much just the same as the one that comes with I can't speak, Tony Stark figure. It's basically the same thing. That one did light up, and it didn't have a posable fight stand post. Now this one doesn't light up for no good reason. I mean, just every collector is talking about this, that it doesn't light up, and it should. I mean, it completely has the capability to do that. It even has the battery box, and you know, here's the battery box. It's in there, but there's just, you can't open it, or you're not supposed to open it, and there's no connectors. So I mean, it would really take quite a bit of customizing to actually get it to light up, but there's just really no reason why this shouldn't light up, other than Hot Toys just kind of cheaping out on us, which is very disappointing. But like I said, I did do a little custom with it. What I did is I just took this bottom piece off. This bottom piece, you know, goes like under that base, and there's just 4 screws. You just unscrew them, and then you just take this off, and then you get this base. And just so you can see, it just looks like that at the bottom. As you can see, very easy, and it does kind of stand up on these little posts here, and it stands up really well. Kind of messed up my Tony Stark there, but it stands up really well, and it looks a lot better in my opinion, because it is kind of strange to have that kind of flat piece at the bottom, but I don't mind it too much. The main reason I did that was just for space, because if you keep your figures in a detolf cabinet, you know, with the flight pose stand, you're gonna really have to bend that pose so that the you know, that the figure, you know, isn't, you know, that the figure isn't too tall up in there, because there's only about 14 to 15 inches of space in there, so you can't you know, have a ton of space here. So if you take that piece off, you can have your figure in more of a flight stand, and he won't hit the roof, you know, and he'll fit inside there, which looks really good. Like I said, I am using this one for a Stark at the moment. I think it just looks a lot nicer with him, and I've got my Silver Centurion on Thor's base. So just bring that out just so you can see that. So yeah, So overall, you can do that custom with the base. It's very easy to do. Like I said, it's a nice base, but just really disappointed that it doesn't come with a light up gimmick. You know, it should be very easy to do that, as well as, and this goes for any figure that comes with a flight stand base, that they should also come with a clear post. You know, you should have the option of just having your figure be able to stand instead of fly, because a lot of people have space issues, and a lot of people just want their figures to be standing. You know, there's not every pose has to be in a flight pose, so that is something that's very disappointing for me. But overall, what are you going to do? I think eventually they are going to learn that their collectors need some space, so that, you know, if they come out with this, they should give you a regular base. And if they come out with the other flight stand, bases, they should come with a clear pole that allows you to just stand your figure up, because sometimes the best pose is, you know, one where he's got his feet on the floor. And yeah, so I definitely hope that they fix that eventually. It seems like something that's very logical to fix and that everybody is asking for. But what are you going to do? Hopefully they'll fix that soon enough. So now on to the main dish. We have the Silver Centurion armor himself. As you can see, just so that you can get a really good appreciation of this armor, here it is, just the full thing. As you can see, absolutely beautiful. I have to say, the design on this armor was really fantastic, and one that I really enjoyed, because it really does embody a lot of the elements from the comic series, especially with the shoulder pads being very triangular, and items like that really do give a nice nod to the comics, and definitely allow this to be a movie but comic recognizable armor, as well as just the absolute design is really great, because this can be used as an Iron Man, like a classic Iron Man. I mean, it's certainly not perfect, but if this is the only Iron Man somebody had, they can display this guy with the Avengers. You know, he looks good enough to fit in as like an Iron Man armor. You know, obviously the Star Boost and Igor and Bones and even the Heartbreaker, they wouldn't really fit in as an Iron Man, just as a classic Iron Man. While this one, I think, maintains a lot of the elements of a classic Iron Man. I think it looks really good. It's basically painted very similar to a regular Iron Man, except the gold is now silver, but the silver is close enough to the gold where it really gives it a nice look. I love the rib cages, the kind of serrated almost at the ribs there. It's just a really nice look. Let's bring this a little closer. As you can see, it looks really cool. Definitely like that. I think it's a really nice design piece. And the shoulders, very broad, very triangular, very muscular, as well as they do have these little flaps, which are really quite unique, that I think that they do look really nice. And overall looks fantastic. As you can see, you do have him with the knife here. Beautiful knife. I mean, you know, the kind of chrome and metal look to it is really quite fantastic and just looks great there. Now this is actually the repulsor hand, and I wanted to show you this, that you can angle it so that the repulsor hand is, you know, kind of like a normal looking hand. You know, you can angle it like this, which is more what you're supposed to do, but you can push it down so far that it can just look like it's a regular relaxed palm almost, which I think is really cool, because I was about to switch that out when I was doing this pose, but then I thought, why not just leave it in to show you guys that you can do that. I think it is quite nice that you can do that. I think it's the first armor that I've seen that's been able to do that, which I think is pretty cool. Going down, I really do like this. I like the kind of almost like a stripe, but it's kind of like a broken up mechanical stripe of silver down the middle here. It looks really nice. Really do like the way it's done, and I like all the panels coming down over the legs. Gives the feet a little bit more of a bulky look to them, and I really think that that does look quite nice. Obviously, he doesn't come with this base. This is the Mark 7 base, so yeah. And I think that the head does look really cool. Going over this helmeted head sculpt, as you can see, this one does look really nice, but it is very dark, and you know, you really can't see it. But compare it to this is a much brighter, much shinier head sculpt when it comes to the silver, not quite the red, but with the silver, this one is much shinier and, you know, just better in my opinion. If you are keeping a clean Silver Centurion figure, I would highly recommend going with this one, just keeping it with this. But if you like to keep it as the battle damage, or if you're even just thinking about maybe sometimes switching out to be battle damage, I say just keep this one in, because under that face helmet is actually a Robert Downey Jr. face sculpt, and it's just nice that you can pop it into place so that you can have it as a regular Iron Man, and then in 2 seconds you can just pop that little piece out and put it on the top of his head, and then there you have a you know, battle damage face sculpt. I think it looks a lot it's much nicer and just much easier to do it that way, which is why I keep them like that. I think it's just a better way to do do it. And overall, I think it looks nice. Although I would wish that the mask was a clean version. You know, I don't really see a need to have it be slightly darkened, because it's not enough to make it like really like, oh, that's definitely battle damage. It's just slightly darkened, so it's not going to even do that for you. So I would have definitely preferred it with the full on silver face sculpt. I think that would have looked better, but overall not too bad. Going back, as you can see from the side here, looks really nice. I like this kind of backpack, you know, it's nothing major, but it's kind of like just like in a really nice kind of V shape almost. Looks really cool. I just like it a lot. Go down, you can see. As you can see, I think this armor is really quite stunning as far as the design of it. I think it's just perfect because it can be used as a unique armor for Tony Stark, or it can be used as a very classic looking one. I think that it has elements that make it very different and elements that make it very similar, which I think that really just works for just about any person buying an Iron Man. I think that this is one that you'd really kind of appreciate, whether you like it more classic or you like it a little different. You know, I think it's perfect. Like, you know, the other armors, you know, like the Mark 7, you would have to buy if you're into the classic look, and, you know, like the Star Boost, you have to buy if you're into a very different look. So this one is kind of the best of both worlds, and I think that it really works out well. The red is really quite beautiful, very, you know, just absolutely wonderful. The same type of red that Hot Toys uses, very metallic, very shiny, very realistic, and just quite beautiful. Overall looks great. So yeah, so now let's get some of the battle damage, or actually before we do that, let's go over articulation. So overall, articulation is really good on this guy. There's some parts that are a little less and some parts that are a little more from some other armors. The only other armor I have, I mean, I have the Tony Stark figure and I have the Mark 1, but you know, those two are kind of, they don't really fit, and I have Ironmonger, but those three, you know, kind of armors, if you will, they don't really fit in as a classic Iron Man. So the only other classic Iron Man I have is the Mark 7, so most of my knowledge of the articulation for a standard Iron Man figure comes from that figure. So going over that articulation with that in mind, as you can see, he does look up quite far. He can look down really far and then side to side. As you can see, really nice. Really do like the way he looks down. Looking up, on the other hand, he doesn't look up that far. I mean, like I said, I have the Mark 7, and the Mark 7 is known for the best head articulation of an Iron Man figure. I mean, that one can be looking up so far that it's in a fight pose, and it's really fantastic. So I don't really understand why they couldn't apply the same design of the neck articulation to this one like they did with the other one. From what I can see, there's really nothing that would make this one not, you know, have... There's no reason that this one couldn't do exactly what the Mark 7 did, as long as they designed it with the right joint. So I really don't understand why they opted not to do that, other than just laziness, I guess. I'm not sure, but that is quite disappointing. These shoulder joints are quite nice. They are ball hinge, and, you know, it's kind of like a double joint, so you can kind of rotate the entire arm out a little bit or rotate it in. This, the shoulder pieces, they're kind of on like a loose hinge to kind of be allowed to move out of your way if you need to be. You know, a lot of people I think would be very stressful to actually put the arm completely up and rotate this like down, but you can do it, and I have done it. I took a picture of this guy like choking Obadiah Stane, and I posted it on Instagram, and if you can see, you know, his shoulder plate is way down there, so you can do that. So you can have his arm completely up doing like a repulsor blast. You can do that stuff. You need to be careful, and you need to not move it so that this isn't scraping on this armor. You know, just take your time and keep rotating it so that, you know, that armor isn't scraping, and it's not going to break it off the hinge or anything like that. Just be careful while you're doing it, and as long as you are careful, you'll be able to do it, and it just looks really quite wonderful. His arm can go up quite far, and of course, like I said, you can rotate it to get it even further up if you want to. He does have like a bicep swivel. It is, you know, fairly small. I mean, the more further out you can get it to bend quite far, which is quite nice. The elbow bend is pretty good. I mean, it does bend, you know, quite a bit, but there is also this thing where you can like pull out this piece of the arm and kind of get it to go just slightly more. I haven't been able to pull out this forearm. I don't know what it is. I have tried. Because I've tried everything other than just with brute force, and, you know, I don't want to do that on a Hot Toys figure. So I've done it, you know, gently, and I've done it with a little force, but I just cannot get it to bend, and, you know, it's just not worth it to me to risk, you know, know, possibly damaging, you know, a piece of this, the arm to do that. So it is disappointing that it is kind of really difficult to do that, but unfortunately that's just how it is. The ab rotation is fantastic. You can get a nice swivel in there. I mean, you can really get a good bend, which works really great for just about all poses. And as you can see, this little piece like isn't lined up here. That's, you know, how you can kind of know, like there, that's kind of back right in the center. But you can, you know, turn it to get him a nice rotation, which I really do like a lot. That's something that I really don't see with my Mark 7. It really doesn't seem to be able to turn that much. So I'm really liking the amount of swivel that he has in his chest. Then you can pop up this little piece and, you know, it can get a nice bend forward and bend back. You get, you know, like a slight ab crunch. It is nice. It's not something that's 100% necessary, but if you have him like flying back and maybe shooting a repulsor blast, you know, from the front, you can get a nice bend on it and can make it look good. Overall, I think that that's a really interesting joint to have him able to kind of break apart a piece and then rotate it. I think that's really interesting and unique, but it's just something that's not 100% necessary in my mind. But I can definitely see a lot of people, you know, enjoying that joint. You do get a ball jointed wrist, like I said, you know, very easy to do, but it does pop off of the ball joint a lot easier than my Mark 7 I've found. So that is something that's not really a big deal. It's not like it's like a loose or anything. It just pops out a little easier, so nothing too fantastic there. He is on a ball jointed thigh, so, you know, this is as far as it can go up, as far as it can go down, and then side to side. Very, very hindered, but what is fantastic and what I absolutely love about this figure is that you can, it's on a ball joint like right here, and then it's on a pin that goes over here, and that pin is on a ball joint as well, so you can rotate the pin down, and then that ball joint can now rotate further. It is really fantastic. So as you can see, you can just lower that entire thigh joint just like that, and then you can get a wonderful bend. Really quite beautiful, quite a tight bend there, and really can do some great flying poses and just some great poses in general. I have to say, I absolutely love that, and you can just rotate it right back up into his thigh, and it just looks beautiful. One joint that I think is fantastic, it should be standard on everything. The die-cast ones now, they have that little button on the back that you press, and the entire leg assembly drops down, which I think is really cool. But if they're not going to do that, then this joint works just as good, or almost just as good, and really is definitely something that needs to be standard on an Iron Man figure. You do get a tiny bend at the thigh here, the tiny thigh swivel. You do get double hinge knees, which are really nice. They give you a nice tight bend. Really do enjoy that. And then you do have like a ball jointed ankle. Look down, up, you know, a little side to side action. A little hindered by the panels here, but nothing too bad. And overall, really nice. And then just like, you know, any Iron Man, you can like open up this little back piece so to see like the insides of the suit, which I think is an interesting thing to do, especially if you have him like breaking in the air or something. It looks nice, but nothing that I really use at all, but I think it does look really good. So overall, I am really loving the articulation and just the overall design of this armor, not just from the toy, but from the movie. I think that it had a really wonderful design. Of course, very underutilized for such a cool comic armor. If I'm not mistaken, this is the only armor from the Iron Legion, you know, and I don't consider the Mark 42 from the Iron Legion, so this is the only armor from the Iron Legion that is based off of a comic book armor, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken, but I believe that this is the only one, and therefore I really wish it had a little bit more of a part in the movie, but it didn't have a terrible part. I mean, you did actually get to see Tony Stark inside of it, as well as it did cut off, you know, Killian's arm, which is, you know, kind of interesting. So overall, really wish that this one got a little bit more showtime, but other than that, not too bad. As far as the battle damage, he doesn't have a ton, but let's get on the battle damage that he does come with. Alright, so here he is as battle damage as you can get him. Overall, where there is battle damage, it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful, I have to say. But the only problem that I have with this battle damage is that it's in such a limited place. And it is in the important places, but I wish that it just doesn't fit, because the rest of the armor is very new, it's very shiny, and then the chest is messed up, and then the face is messed up, and then that's just about it. Everything else is nice and new and shiny. So I have to say that is the one thing that that is disappointing about this figure is that he doesn't come with much battle damage. Now, there isn't any really specific battle damage pieces that you see in the movie that are just kind of ripped to shreds like his chest was or anything like that. But, I mean, from the second that we see this armor, like when it lands and when he gets into it, I just watched this. When I got this figure, I went and I watched the end of the movie again, and when that armor lands, it is messed up when he gets in it. It is completely burnt everywhere. It has scrapes. It's all scratched up. There's nothing new about it. So, I mean, just, we really don't even get to see this armor nice and shiny in the movie. Maybe when it flies up in the first scene, but that is very hard to see it there even. So I do think that this definitely should have had a few more battle damage parts. Maybe like have one of the arms swappable and really just have a lot of scrapes and burnt marks on it. That would have been great. And maybe like the thigh joints to be able to switch them, or not the thigh joints, but the thigh panels. Little things like that would have really went a long way in my opinion. But with that being said, let's go over the actual battle damage parts that we actually have. So yeah, get some nice light on them. Alright, because there are some good ones. First of all, that chest, I mean, I did go over the battle damage chest already, but just to go over how it looks on the actual figure is really fantastic. The broken glass is really cool, it's really unique. The only thing is, it's a little hard to notice. I mean, you know, I was kind of looking for it because I knew that it had broken glass, you know, before I got this figure, and so I was like looking for it. But if you're not looking for it, you really wouldn't really notice that there's broken glass, unfortunate, which is definitely disappointing. I really do like how this is all broken down here. It looks really nice. I like just the damage where it is really, really fantastic. I do like that a lot. Going over the face sculpt, I think it's really fantastic that we do get a Robert Downey Jr. face sculpt in this figure. You know, just any of the other Iron Legion figures that we're getting from Hot Toys, none of them have a Robert Downey Jr. face sculpt because he wasn't in any of those armors. So this is really nice. You get a really good face sculpt. I believe that it is exactly the same that comes with the Mark 42, and I believe that this is just the same face that is, you know, that is the Tony Stark Hot Toys figure. I believe that it's the same one that they kind of almost shaved off his face and kind of stuck it in here, gave it a new paint job, and gave it some battle damage and called it a day. I believe that that's what they said that actually happened with this. Overall, though, it looks fantastic. I really do love it. He's looking up. He looks really nice there. The difference between this one and the Mark 42 is that the blood is in slightly different places, and the Mark 42, I believe he's looking a bit off to the side. His eyes are painted off to the side just a tiny bit, while this one, they're more straightforward and just kind of looking up just ever so slightly. And I do like the blood a lot. You got some blood just around the eye there, kind of dripping down. Got a little cut on the lip and on the top of the nose, and then a little bit down there at the other eye. And then, let's see, is there? Yeah, you get a nice little piece of blood up there on the top. Overall, I really do like the battle damage. It's not, you know, he isn't just covered with blood. He's not all gory and everything, but he's got just the right amount that really is quite accurate. I believe before, you know, a few months ago, before this figure came out, I did actually take a picture of him you know, from the movie in the suit and compared it to the Hot Toys one, and I believe that I saw that the blood wasn't in the same places in you know, some of the areas. But that being said, you know, that's really just a really nitpicking it, you know, if you really want it completely accurate. This works out perfect, and I think he looks fantastic. And just looking at him on this camera, I'm just stunned. He just looks so sick. I mean, if you get this guy from the right angle, he just is one badass looking figure, I have to say. Really fantastic, really do like it. And I'm very excited now that I'm doing this review. I can finally keep him the way I want to keep him, which is just like this. I want to keep him all battle damaged, but I've been waiting to you know, keep him like this until I did the review so that you could see him clean first. And I think that he just looks absolutely sick. Really do like the battle damage. Wish he came with some more, but other than that, really fantastic and just a really great looking armor. Alright, so overall, the Silver Centurion armor from Hot Toys is really quite fantastic. A lot of fun, and definitely just a great armor to have. If you are comparing these, you know, you don't want to get all of the Iron Legion because you're not a millionaire, you know? You're just trying to pick out just maybe a few, or maybe even just one of the Iron Legion figures to get. I would say that this is probably going to be the one to pick up. I mean, Igor is obviously fantastic because he's massive and unique, but you know, his price tag matches what he is. So it's definitely not something that's like a deal or anything. So if you are just picking like one, you know, Iron Legion figure to get, I'd say go with this one for multiple reasons. Because he was in the movie for longer, he actually got a fairly decent scene. I mean, the Silver Centurion and Shotgun are the only two armors that I really don't think got gypped in the movie. I think they got a fair amount of screen time. Now, this one is an armor that's, you know, known for the comics and everything, so I wish that he would have maybe got more of a movie appearance as like one of the main armors for a movie. But that being said, I think that he didn't get gypped in the movie, at least, and I think that that is quite nice. Plus, accessory-wise, I mean, you actually get accessories with this one. Star Boost and the Heartbreaker are figures that are going to be really cool, but they're not going to come with anything. They're going to come with their hands, and they're going to come with a base. This one comes with the knives that can be put onto the hands, which is really awesome. It comes with the battle damage chest. You get a battle damage face sculpt, or battle damage helmet with a Robert Downey Jr. face sculpt. I mean, those things alone really warrant a purchase, because it is, you get a lot more with this figure, and it's a character that's a lot better than the others. So I would highly recommend this one to be the armor that you choose if you want an Iron Legion armor. This is definitely the one to pick up. So yeah, but overall, really do love this guy. He is quite fantastic. I'm very happy that I picked up the exclusive one. I believe the exclusive one is still in stock on Sideshow.com, so if it's not much more money for you to buy from them, I would absolutely recommend that, because you get a really fantastic head sculpt. But overall, a really fantastic figure. Definitely not for anyone who's not a big Iron Man fan, but if you are a big Iron Man fan, this is an absolutely fantastic, just about must-have figure to own, because it is really a ton of fun. I've had a lot of fun with it, and it's just a great figure in general. So there you go. That's my review of the Hot Toys Iron Man 3 Silver Centurion figure. Thank you so much for watching.